Hello friends! I had a couple of people in for a class recently making junk journals, and especially because there was a youngster in that duo, I brought out an old school project. I'm pretty sure I picked it up on YouTube, probably one of the very first YouTube videos I ever watched. But I haven't seen it come around lately, and not in the junk journal circles. So this might be something that you haven't seen before. And it's making stickers using packing tape. And so it's super easy. I could do this in 5 minutes. So I will show you the basic technique, and then if that's got you satisfied, off you go. I'm going to play around with a few different kinds of paper and a few different colorations of things, and just see about some things I'm curious about. And I'll explain more of what that is as I go. But what you'll need some clear packing tape. You know, the kind without strings or anything in it, just basic packing tape. You'll want a water source. Now you can take these to a sink and do it. I do it in a bowl of water, and then that way too I can flush, because we're going to wash off some paper backing. So you're going to end up with bits of paper. If you do it in a bowl, then you can just flush it rather than run it down your sink and risk clogging your drains, or at least your little drain catcher things. So, bowl of water, packing tape, scissors, images cut from magazines. I have some that I've cut from a book rather than magazines, because I want to see if there's a difference in the ink and paper between the two. And of course that could depend on various books and things. I also have things cut from different magazines with different glossiness factors to the paper, just to see if there's a difference. So, some experimenting, even though I've done this dozens of times, usually in classes, and it's usually well loved, not just by the kids, but also by adults. So there's that. Yeah, I'm wandering off on tangents. I'll try to pull it in here. Okay, scissors, and you'll want some sort of a towel or cloth rag, whatever. This is a very old napkin, because you'll need to dry things off. And what I like about this is that it's old quality napkin fabric, the newer stuff. It doesn't have much lint to it. It's pretty lint-free. So if you've got something that you know is a lint-free cloth, you might want to use that. It's not that big a deal. And then I grabbed some peel and stick backing from some of those little wallpaper rectangles you can get at the dollar store. I was playing around with some of those the other day, and I was able to track down a scrap of the backing. And the reason for this is just so that I can stick my stickers to something, because I don't think today I'm going to want to stick them all onto a project. I just wanted to share this, so I don't have too many places lined up that need the stickers at the moment. Why would you do a sticker instead of just cutting out the image and sticking it down? You know those stickers, everybody's kind of buying them, and this may be why this has sort of gone away, is because now, of course, like anything else that a crafter comes up with, it ends up out there for sale, and now it's on Temu, so you can get 8,000 of them for 25 cents or some such thing. Don't know, don't shop it. So it may have started there. But the thing about these stickers, not only is any background that you're going to leave on from the tape clear, but it makes a translucent sticker, so when you lay it down on top of artwork or other things like in a collage, it's going to be translucent. Things are going to show through it, and that gives an interesting factor to it. Mostly though, people who really get into it, it's just sort of magical and fun. There's just a whimsy factor to it. Now your images can't be any wider than your tape. So like this one, I'm going to be cutting that a bit narrower. I'll use the inner circle here. And in fact, on this one, it's one of the first images I want to do, but this was a series of 12 plates. I didn't keep track of the artist. Came out of Enchanted Living magazine, I know that. Anyway, this image I don't like as much, and so I'm going to test it first. It should work just fine, but again, different magazines, different books use different, just different inks and different types of paper and such, and I don't know if it matters. I've never compared from one to the next. I know it works well with images out of National Geographic. I know it works fine with images out of Better Homes and Gardens. Beyond that, I've never paid attention. Didn't need to. Now I need to know. Burning question. Okay, now you can fussy cut your image first. You may want to wait and fussy cut it later, and you'll see why as we go along. And this one I'm going to have to line up careful if I'm going to get all of that on there. Okay, so I've got it on there. I want to really rub this down well. So I'm using the back of my fingernail. Now, there's a tool I didn't get out. You may want to use a bone folder. You want to just really rub it down well. There may be situations wherein when you're laying it down to do this rubbing that you would want to be sure that what you're laying it on is very, very clean, because some of the plastic packing tape that isn't on top of the image right at the moment, some of that may become part of your sticker later, so that may matter. And I'm being extra, extra, extra with this, partly because I'm wanting to be scientific and test this. Do I normally burnish it this much? No, but I can kind of see where it's not as rubbed down. Now I'm probably also scratching up the surface of my tape, so I may end up regretting doing that to that extent. So I'm just going to press it down good. That was really overkill, I'm sure. And then trim away any tape that you know that you're not going to want. And I'm just going to go ahead and retrim around the edge. Okay? So you have your image. It's all burnished down. It's all cut out. If you have other things on your work surface that you don't want tape to stick to, make sure you get that out of your way. Do I have a garbage can nearby? No, so I'll put that there. Hang on, coffee. Oh. Cheers. Okay. So, next thing you do, drop that in water. You're going to let that soak for a moment. And you can let it soak for a long moment. You could do a whole bunch of these and just be leaving them in the water and come back to it in a bit. The longer they soak, actually, the easier it is to do the next step, but I want to move on, so I'm going to just start. So the minute it gets wet, you can start rolling that paper off. And there's usually kind of two layers. One layer will come off. You're not done yet. Keep going. You want to keep rubbing, rubbing, rubbing. And it's not going to feel sticky right now. But interestingly, in most cases, the stickiness will return as it dries. If it doesn't, use a bit of glue. Now, we've used tacky glue successfully in the past. In recent months, I've started using the art glitter glue, which is meant for sticking things like glitter, non-porous things to paper surfaces. And so I've used that on these, and it works quite nicely. Okay, so I've got all the paper rubbed off. Move my bowl out of the way. Get out my little. And if you don't have anything that's not going to leave fuzzies, just let these sit to dry. It's really hard to be patient though. This I'm fairly certain isn't going to leave fuzzies, because I don't want to fill up the sticky surface with water. Okay, dry my hands somewhere else so I'm not soaking my rag totally with just what's on my hands. Did I just dry my hands on my pants? Yes, I did. Paint clothes. Live your life in paint clothes, and then you need never worry. And so it's a little hard to tell what you've got until you set it on white. And there. It was weird to begin with, so it still looks weird. Let's try something with more detail. And I'm going to leave this sitting face up so that that can dry for a bit, and we'll see if the sticky is still there. Most times it is, but we'll see if there's a difference in how it bonds to different ink and paper. It may have stuck to the paper and rolled off with it. So I'm just going to leave that there. That's the basic technique. If that's all you wanted to know, there you go. These came out of a gardening magazine. A common snowdrop. Let's see, that doesn't have as much boldness. Let's do a Gudoshnik. I don't know where to put the accent in that language. Not sure what language it is that was in. Some variety of tulip. Anyway, these are some of the most common stickers that I've seen with the clear backs. Do I care about having the name of it? Nah, I'm going to take the name off. Okay, and I'm actually going to cut the sticker down after I stick it on, so got some tape. Or something on there, but I just will be careful not to stick my image on top of any crumbs. Get a little of this extra tape out of the way. I was a little over enthusiastic there. And I'll just do some trimming right now, so that I'm not dealing with that overhang of tape. Now, I could have just stuck this down to the solid paper, and it would have come out just fine. I just would have ended up with a whole lot of clear background, because all of this white paper, it typically doesn't have any ink on it. It's not inked white, it's just the paper itself. And so typically all of that white goes completely away, and you're left with a just perfectly clear. And I don't want to end up with a big, wide, shiny bit of clear. One of the reasons I haven't used this more in my work is that I don't always love the high gloss of that. But I've noticed all the stickers that folks are buying, for the most part, especially the clear ones, are glossy. So that was another reason that I thought, maybe a lot of my friends out there doing junk journals would want to know about this. It would be very much like the stickers they're already buying. Yeah, probably at this, you're still not going to get 1,000 for 25 cents or whatever. That store is selling them for, but you get the joy of making it. That was the whole point. Okay, so that's cut out. And now I didn't burnish it before I cut it, so I'm going to burnish it now, and maybe I'm going to regret that. I think it'll be okay. I guess it becomes a little bit delicate. I could have burnished it more, or I could have stuck the tape down to the whole thing, trimmed it, whatever. Go in whatever order makes you happy. So I'm going to drop that in. Get it soaked. And once again, just like magic, once the water gets in there. Okay, soak it a little longer. Fine. This was one of those kind of bookazines. It was in the magazine pile, but I don't think there was any advertising in it. And it was thicker paper, you know, put out by one of those companies that does magazines, but much less magazine quality to it. Much better book quality to it. Ugh, can't talk. Okay, interestingly, where I said the white is not printed and doesn't stay, this particular paper, it looks like it, some of the whiteness of the paper itself is staying. Maybe it's just oh no, once you rub it more. Okay, good to know. You can see here, right in here, where I've rubbed it more, it's going away. So even though in here it feels like it's down to just the ink, there's still more paper there. And I think I can still safely rub without removing the ink. Goodness, my tape actually pulled apart. Well, that stinks. Okay, well, I'm going to keep going on that anyway. I don't think I've ever had packing tape just break so easy, but I did cut it kind of skinny there. I can feel the stickiness of the tape coming back up. Okay, so let's see if I've rubbed off all of the ink. It's pretty sheer, but I'll keep going with it. So it may be that the book page kind of paper, by the time you can rub off that top layer of high quality paper, the ink is more bonded to the paper than it is on magazines. And again, this is kind of one of those that was sold as a magazine, but one of those without ads that's, well, I'm just pulling it apart everywhere. Okay, I'm going to call that enough of that test run then. If it's going to break and break and break, we will test a different one. You can test the same thing without cutting it out so much, so that I won't be pulling apart. Because yeah, that keeps pulling apart, and well, it is rather interesting. It's quite sheer but nice where it's completely rubbed off. I think it's going to keep breaking. So, in the interest of not having that continually happen, I'll leave this down here just in case I want the experiment later. Let's dry off my work surface a little bit here so I'm not soaking all my paper. Okay. More coffee. Before I do that again with this, let's do a few other things so that if you've seen enough, you can get on with doing other things. I thought this strip might be fun. You could cut it into its little individual pictures, and this is good thin magazine paper. It could be cut into its little individual pictures, like little stamps. But that strip like this could work, strip like this. Do you see where I'm going with this? I'm thinking kind of washi tape. That's sort of an idea. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe not overdo it so much on how much tape I pull off. This down. I'm not sure if I got right straight on the edge. I was going to try to do that so it'd be less of a pain in the toot. To trim straight. Boy, nothing like filming videos to realize what your particular speaking habits are. I leave a lot of sentences unfinished. I don't know if I drive my friends nuts with that and have all my life, or if people are just used to finishing my ideas, because my brain goes wandering off to other things long before I ever get the whole idea out of my mouth. I've thought it, I'm done with it, I'm on to the next thing. Brain wiring. That, and yeah, I didn't get that exactly straight. And I know the kiddo that was making these the other day was whipping them out like one a minute. She was not spending that long burnishing, and hers were coming out just fine. This does not have to be as tedious as I am making it. So that. I'm going to let that soak. Let's do another one while that one's soaking. Let's see. I want to feel like I've got some success at getting a little botanical sticker. So these were actually, I've saved this image for probably 30 years. These are actually embroidered, and it was an ad for a book. And I'm going to admire that embroidery forever, but I'm not sure I am ever going to sit down long enough to do any significant amount of it. I love embroidery. I love doing it. But boy, some of those projects that are going to take months and months and months, my attention span is not long enough. There. Did I pull out enough to do the next one? Don't catch that other one in there. Okay, I'll get those two. Now, of course, you can get this far and just trim off the excess tape. and then actually do the backing removal when you're ready, if you would want to do it that way. That one can soak well, this one. Come on, paper. That's this one here that we're working on. There it goes. Sometimes getting that first bit going, it's like, is it gonna come off? Is it gonna? Yeah, it's coming off. Just fine. Ooh, this one's gonna be good. Ooh-wee. This one's gonna be nice. Putting the face of it down and not the sticky sides facing up. I'm just going to take off as much of the water as I can without feeling like I'm down to the tape stickiness. Get that back over there. Oh, I splashed water. Okay. Keep your extra images out of range of your water splashes. This is why I have to live in paint pose. I am not good at tidy. Okay. Right off. All right, so this one has come out like that. Absolutely brilliant. Love that. And it does feel a little sticky. Let's see. Let's see if my first one came back up sticky or not. This one only feels sticky around the edges. I suspect that there is still, just like on that other book page one, because it was Enchanted Living and they use higher quality paper, I suspect that I have a very sheer layer of paper still on there. So, that isn't an issue though, because one can simply take a little bit of glue. Let's stick that down. Grab junk journal. Do I need something that big? Probably not. I marked a page that could maybe use something. Okay, that's really just plain. Although, one of the nice things is this will show how things show through it. That's good. Totally. I moved my mat and whoops, realigned with the camera. So that's how it would look there, and it's very slightly sticky on the back. So sometimes the stickiness stays. Today I'm not having that happen with any of these. Let's see. I'm looking to see if there's something like here where you've got some interest already and you stick it over, you get that layered effect. And I actually, even though you see less of the flowers, less perfectly, excuse me, I kind of like that better. Like, liking that. I'm going to stick this here. And it's going to need just a little bit of a trim. I'm going to go ahead and stick it down, and then I'll check back on it later and see if as it completely evaporated if it stays stuck, or if it needs some glue to help it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll show you a few others that I'm going to experiment with. I'm going to go off camera and do those, and then come back and show you what I came up with. So you can do words, and I've already got that vamp, so I may lose part of that C. You can definitely do words. Again, I've got things out of different types of magazines and catalogs and stuff for different paper. These came out of a book rather than a magazine, so it's got definitely thick book paper. So I'm going to give that a try. This is one where it's a white teacup, and I'm assuming that the white of that is actually printed ink and that it will still show up, but I'm going to find out so I can let you know about that, because typically anything that's white is just the paper and it goes away. So I'll give that a try. I'll try a few of these other things, and I will come back and show you what I ended up with, and we'll see if that piece I just stuck down stayed stuck or if I ended up needing to add glue. So, back with you in a moment. Well, pretty much instantly for you. Okay, and just like that, I'm back. I've been gone a while. Okay, so I've done a handful of them. And I'll set this slightly aside for the moment. So I did another one of those just with an image that I really like, and I'll stick that in my book in a moment. And let's see, which side up? That side up, because it is slightly sticky on the back now. For the most part, not getting a lot of stickiness, but yeah, some. There is a definite difference in how the different papers and weights, book page versus magazine quality, how that works out. So this came out of a book, and I did actually take my bone folder and scratch there because I wanted to see, was that still paper on the background or was that ink? And in this case, at least in this particular book, their pale colors are a mixed pale color and not sheer ink put down on the page to create the lighter colors using the white of the page. So that was interesting to note. Don't know if that makes the least bit of difference to you, but now I can cut this out closer. And one thing I did realize, this one that kept breaking on me, and I was puzzled because I haven't had that happen in the past. A lot of the newer tapes, this one says Easy Start. Okay, I suspect Easy Start is quite similar to the Tear by Hand that's now available. So for this project, if you're going to cut delicate pieces, you might want to be sure you have just the old-fashioned kind that actually has to have a cutting edge to cut. It doesn't say anything like Easy Start or Easy Tear, because I think that is where my problem came up with this. I mean, I did have them cut quite narrow, like between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch wide on some pieces. So, you know, there was some risk, but I've never had them break as much as this one did. So there's that thought. So now I can go in before I put this down on anything and trim around it. Now what I did find on this, especially on this one, is that really the ink has enveloped all of the stickiness. So this one will definitely need some glue. And when you go, well then why would you bother to make a sticker out of it? That goes back to the same thing where it is actually still sheer. And you don't see much there, but put it over the word magic. You do still see through it very lightly, and you see that even less on camera than I can see in person. Let's see if I can bring it up close. So you do still see through it. There is still that sheerness factor. So it may not be super satisfying on something like this, but something like the word magic, that was absolutely clear background, and it's very sticky. This was Better Homes and Gardens. The thin, flimsy magazine pages, especially if you're doing this with somebody who has a limited amount of patience, small children who do not hyper-focus on things, grab cheapy magazines to do it. And I'm going to do this what's next and just show you, because you saw me scrubbing and rubbing. This one, literally, it came off like magic. Like I just pulled it out of the water and went whoop, and it was clean. And I think this is also that super flimsy. So I'm going to drop this one in quick before I talk about a couple of others. Just get this on there. Rub it down, and to save my tender fingers, I did use the bone folder to rub most of these down, but that has never been the case in the classes where I've done this, because typically in those classes I've had more than a dozen people, and it was just rub with the back of your fingernail. If you're only doing a couple, that's not going to wear out your hands or make anything tender. But I've managed to smash fingers, cut fingers, do all kinds of things to my fingers just lately. And yeah, they're tender. So this one though I'll do just rubbing by hand, because that's good enough. That's all it really needs. And then I'm going to drop that in my water. Let that sit for just a moment while we talk about one of these others, and then we'll come back to that. So here is how the white one came out, and there was enough shadowing. Now, this is sheer. Like over my hand, you maybe can't quite tell it's a teacup. Stuck down over something white, you do see it. So depending on where I put that in my journal, we'll see how that goes. This was out of a Stampington publication, and that one actually also came off, even though it's thicker paper, it came off quite quick. This one, by the way, was a publication that prints on matte finish paper. It came off pretty quick, not like magic, but it came off pretty quick. And here's my one from before that I was doing. Let's see if it dried with any stickiness to it. It's been mostly face down. Yep, that's got actually quite a lot of sticky to it. So for this one, I'm going to trim a little bit of the excess away. Okay, so that's soaked for just a moment while we were doing something else. Let's see if this one comes off as fast as magic did. Yep. Once you get it going. This, when I thought, oh, I'll do this project because it's so quick, this is what I was thinking of. Like there isn't a whole lot of rubbing going on like there was with some of those other ones where it took a while. It's pretty instant gratification. And if you're doing this over a sink, it's even quicker because you're not trying to not splash water all over everything. I do typically, if I'm doing this out in the middle of a room and don't have a sink handy, I do typically bring out a wash tub, dish pan kind of thing, or at least a very large mixing bowl. I just grabbed this one because it was big enough without taking up the entire work surface under the camera. It's definitely the first time I've used that small of a bowl to do it, and probably the last time, unless for some reason I ever need to film this again. Okay, dry it off on here. there's that. So let's just find some places to stick these in. And at some point I'll come across the one that we stuck in earlier. Let's see, magic. This is maybe a little bit of overkill here. Whoops, and you can't stick it over. So I don't want to stick it over dark. Maybe up there. I think I want to stick that one right there. And so there's where the joy of having that be a sheer sticker comes in. And yes, the ones that came out of the thin paper magazines also left the glue intact on the back. The paper didn't pick it up, or it didn't get so covered in ink that it wouldn't come out. Let's see, who else do we have? Okay, where did my little deer one go? Yep, it's around on the back. Whoops. Okay, a few of them got away from me. Oh, this deer I want to put in this book. So I'm going to spread that. Ooh, it's kind of dark. It needs some light to go over. That'll work there, but does that cover something I don't want covered? There. And that needs a little extra glue. Itchy. Our glitter glue is not notoriously spreadable, but on thin plastic like that, it does a nice job of spreading. Let's see what this is. Stuck down otherwise. All right. Yes, I'm wiping that off on my pants. Pink clothes. Life in pink clothes. Okay. It's right there. Back to this one. This teacup one could go really nice on here. About that. It's sticking, but just no. I'm gonna leave it. I'll check it another day and make sure that it's stuck down. This is one of them, and that was stuck on with no glue, and it is there. It ain't going anywhere. I won't torture you with watching me stick these all in. Let me flip through real fast and find the one I stuck down earlier. There it is. Okay, let's see. Okay, that one did lose its gluiness, so. Right on the front of that third signature. I could have put a bookmark in. I did not. Okay. And I'm about to get our glitter glue on my work table, which will make me sad. Like I I said, art glitter glue is not normally known for being super spreadable, but on a plastic surface like this that you have with the tape, it will spread. And that also helps it stick down better. I don't know about anybody else. I was told it was like the be-all end-all of glues, but I have actually had things stuck with art glitter glue come apart, just like it just breaks away from the surface. And it may be that just like, it may just be me, might be operator error, because I also can't use glue stick for crap. Nothing ever sticks down when I use glue stick, and that is probably just because I cannot time it. I have to think about things and move them around. So there's that one, and then I also had another strip. That other strip, I made a strip like that, which I really love, but I'm not sure where I want to put it yet. Could put it, like you could put it over the edge of a photo, get some interesting color in there if I wanted to build up a collage. Don't know yet how I feel about that. What would happen if you stuck it over that? Meh. But there's the joy of it, is that it is sheer, and so you can play around with the sheerness of that. So, go forth, have fun. Make some stickers, make some magic, make some messes. Make life good. I'll catch you again soon with another video. Thanks for watching.